In this particular vintage, the story, there's a story. It was an accident, to be honest. This yellow submarine was found bobbing around out in the sea here by a fisherman, and he brought it ashore and examined it and found it had markings, the MOD, the Ministry of Defence. So he called them up and said, look, you know, guys, I found your submarine. And they said, well, what submarine? And he said, well, the one you've lost. And they said, we haven't lost a submarine. And he said, yes, you have, because I just found it. And they said, no, we haven't lost one. We know we haven't lost a submarine. He said, well, you must have done, because I found it. It's got your name on the side, and I've got it here. And the guy on the phone was saying, well, I'm sorry, but we haven't lost one. And so the fisherman, John Baker, just said, well, you know, this is crazy. You know, when you decide you've lost it, you know, I've got it. And here's my number, here's my address. You can come and get it. And they said, well, where did you find it? And he gave a grid reference. And they said, no, that's impossible. You can't possibly, you must have stolen it. And at this point, he just thought, this is crazy. And he hung up. And 3 months went by, nothing happened at all. And I just thought this story was really funny. You know, the Ministry of Defence, submarine, you know, lost, you know, it's just too silly for words. And since we like those sort of things, we designed a label with the submarine on it. And several months later, 3 months later, the labels arrived, and I was called up by the fisherman and told that the Ministry of Defence was sending a minesweeper to come and collect it the next morning at 7 o'clock. So I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity. So I went into the bottling hall, and Jim had just created a new cuvee, and we hadn't given it a name, but it was just a new cuvee, which is sometimes what happens. Jim just creates it because it's there and it happens. And I just grabbed 12 bottles, stuck the labels on, and zoomed off down to the quay to meet the submarine as it was being delivered, and the minesweeper arriving, and the men from the Ministry of Defence were there. And we had a dram, we had a taste, and we had I presented some bottles to the skipper, and yeah, all good and proper. And it sort of like stuck, the concept. So the whiskey was never intended to have this sort of frivolous label. You know, the whiskey is actually quite considerably more serious than it really is. But it took off, and everybody just thought this was, you know, a very funny, just as much as we did. In fact, the Ministry of Defence thought it was funny, and they ordered a whole load of bottles, you know. So it became sort of a bit of an institution overnight in its own lunchtime. So anyhow, this particular one has a yellow submarine. I mean, who knows what the next one will have? You know, these stories keep occurring here. It's extraordinary, but. Anyhow, the difference is it's a copper tin, it's a vintage, it's a single run of casks. This one we aced in some European oak casks, which gave it just a little hint of fruit, and is fearfully drinkable. Dangerously slow. It should carry a government health warning.